Okay, let's go.
So what happens to a lady or a woman after taking Postinor 2? Postinor 2 is just one of the Postinors. We have Postinor 1 and Postinor 2. So what is the difference between the two? It's about the milligram now, how much of the active ingredient that it contains. So Postinor 1, if you look at it, is actually reading 1.5 milligram, all right? While Postinor 2 is reading 0.75 milligram. If you add up 0.75 milligram to 0.75 milligram, you are going to get 1.5 milligram. So let's look at the facts about Postinor 2. Some of these facts, you are aware of them, some you are not aware of them, and some of them are going to be pleasing to the ears, and some of them are not going to be pleasing to the ears. And some of these facts, studies have proven it, and some of them, studies are not proving it, but people are experiencing it. And we're not going to keep waiting for studies to prove things. So sometimes what you experience could be personal to you when you take Postinor 2, and sometimes it could be generalized effects that whoever that takes Postinor 2 is going to experience it. And these days, abuse is highly inevitable with Postinor 2. Like any little thing, women are just taking Postinor 2, students, workers, married women, up and down, boyfriend, girlfriends. Because it's an over-the-counter drug, anybody can quickly walk into the pharmacy and just have access to it. So this is where abuse is inevitable. And let me make it very clear to you that whatever drug we take, it must pass through the liver before it can actually get distributed. So in a situation whereby somebody is having issues with the liver, whether knowingly or unknowingly, just bear in mind that yes, you're having all the impacts. So number one fact we're going to know today is that Postinor 2 is actually a drug. I want to simplify this as simple as possible without any big words, medical jargons, and all of it, okay? So Postinor 2 is a drug that is used to prevent pregnancy. That is to stop pregnancy if a woman have unprotected intimacy, especially when that woman suspect that she did this, or when she's not in her free period, she's going to get worried and she does not want pregnancy to happen. She can quickly take Postinor 2. In fact, usually is referred to as the morning after pills. All right. Secondly, Postinor 2, just like I explained, it comes as 1.5 milligram or 0.75 milligram for Postinor 2, while Postinor 1 is 1.5 milligram. So this is how you are expected to take it. If you're taking the single tablet, which is Postinor 1, that comes as 1.5 milligram, you are expected to take it once, and that's it. But if you're taking Postinor 2, that comes 0.75 milligram, you are expected to take it twice. And how do you take this? Just right after the intimacy, take one. 12 hours after that, you take the second one. That's all. And this should be done within 48 hours of intimacy if you want to actually get the right result. Not more than 72 hours. Studies have proven this. What Postinor 2 will not do is to stop implantation. Like if implantation is already ongoing, it's not going to stop it. But it can prevent ovulation. It can prevent the sperm from getting fertilizing the egg. But it cannot actually stop a fertilized egg that have already started getting implanted. That is already started settling in the womb. So let us know that, because some women miss the date, they will not calculate their menstrual cycle very well, and they will say, oh, that the Postinor 2 did not work. So understand how Postinor 2 work. Third fact is that Postinor 2 can actually cause hormonal imbalance. In fact, 50% of women that are taking Postinor 2, Postinor 1, they've reported to have started dealing with hormonal imbalance, especially in respect to high prolactin levels. Especially in respect to high prolactin levels, okay? So the fourth fact about Postinor 2, Postinor 1, this was actually identified by the Global Health Information, and is a recent study in 13th June 2023. It identified nausea, vomiting, breast tenderness, weakness, menstrual irregularities in women taking Postinor 2. What does that tell you? Sometimes you're experiencing breast tenderness, irregular cycle. Maybe before you started taking Postinor 2, you were seeing your period every 30 days. Since the Postinor 2, the intake of the Postinor 2, you now notice that your period now comes all of a sudden, maybe in 21 days, in 35 days. It just scattered. And sometimes heavy bleeding, light bleeding. You don't understand what is going on with the menstrual cycle. Typically, many women that are taking Postinor 2 experience this, and studies have proven it. So the nausea and vomiting sometimes can be confusing to the woman. When she's experiencing nausea and vomiting, she could be like, are you sure she's not pregnant? She keeps testing, and getting worried. All the anxiety that comes for women that don't want to get pregnant. And actually, a lot of women are crying and hoping that they can get pregnant. So the fifth fact about Postinor 2, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Postinor 2 can weaken womb muscles and lead to miscarriages, assuming this person have been abusing Postinor 2 for years. Do you know that some women can take Postinor 2 7 times in a month, 10 times in a month? This is not exaggeration, because of how their relationship is, especially women that have multiple partners. They can take Postinor 2, keep taking it on and on like that, and the impact is that it can weaken the womb lining. And this is exactly how it does it. Because Postinor 2 contains levonorgestrel, it has that capacity to change the womb lining. Watch out for this, that it changes the womb lining and reduces the receptivity. That is how the womb receives the fertilized egg. Is actually different from a womb that has received the fertilized egg and is embedding that fertilized egg in the womb, that is implanting it. So these two conditions, they are totally different. So since Postinor 2 contains that active ingredient, levonorgestrel, that levonorgestrel has that capacity to cause this. So this is where changes in the womb structure and leading to weakening the womb muscles, womb lining can come in, assuming that woman is eventually ready to get pregnant. But it's mostly in women that have abused this drug. In 1 year, you have taken the drug 250 times. What is going on? What for? What is going on? And again, instead of all the time taking the Postinor 2, there's self-control. You can do self-control too, all right? That everybody is doing all of these escapades and all of it. It doesn't make it right. You too can decide to be different. You can decide to be different. I remember one time I held a class, a particular lady, when I told them what the test they were supposed to run on all of it, she reached out to me and told me that she can't do some of those tests because she's still a virgin. And this is a young girl in the university at 20 something. She said that she joined this particular group in the face group where their interest is to keep their virginity. And that is awesome. So these are the kind of things we want our women to actually imbibe and do, especially these young girls that will actually take over from us. Next is formation of ovarian cyst. 31.2 cases of women that are taking Postinor 2 always report that they notice that they are not developing cyst on their ovaries. It could be one of the ovaries or it could be both. Okay, so be careful out there. Always look out for your health. I always say, whatever you want to do, ask yourself if this is really worth it. That 1 minute, 1 second pleasure that will keep you tormented for years, you can avert it. You can avert it, because once ovarian cyst develops, and if you're not able to sort it out, maybe through alternative and lifestyle medicine, or maybe it didn't actually resolve on its own, because sometimes you're told it's going to resolve on its own and it didn't resolve on its own, next thing they will say, well, they're going to operate on you, and you know that operation is not the answer. So you just ask yourself, that 1 second fun got you into this whole mess. The next point is that Postinor 2 has the capacity to cause ectopic pregnancy. Yes, it can cause ectopic pregnancy. And this is how it does it, because it can actually impact the womb lining. It means that if eventually fertilization happened, because you know that fertilization takes place at the ample of the fallopian tube, and because the womb lining has been altered, that fertilized egg cannot travel down and be received warmly by the womb. So it has no choice than to implant on the fallopian tube. What a sad story. The next point is that Postinor 2 can actually cause depression, mood changes, and anxiety. It's not just about the hormonal changes that links it up with the depression, mood changes, and anxiety. Even the mood changes, you yourself that is taking that is giving yourself. The anxiety and the depression that is you yourself, you're taking it, that is giving yourself, is enough. So let's even keep the hormonal side effect of it out of it. For the fact that you're taking that Postinor 2, you're going to be anxious, you're going to be moody, you're going to be depressed, you're not going to feel excited, because you keep waiting and keep asking, will I see my next period? What if the period does not come? What happens next? This, that. You just recoil to yourself, all right? So the final point on my list is that it can actually lead to recurrent vaginal infection. You just notice that you're having this recurrent infection, and the infection these days is much on young women. These young women that are not yet married, they keep having that recurrent infection, frequenting the lab, to get treated. Don't forget, I am speaking from experience as a medical laboratory scientist who owns her own private practice. This is what is happening. Hope you've been able to learn one or two things. Go ahead and implement. Feel free to share the video to anyone that you know that will need this video. And thank you for being part of my community. Bye bye.